Have you ever made a mistake so big that you felt like your whole world was falling apart? Maybe you said something you shouldn't have, and it hurt someone you love. Maybe you failed a test you worked hard for, or you lost an opportunity because of a bad decision. At that moment, it felt like the end. It felt like you had ruined everything. But what if I told you that those mistakes, the ones that made you feel the worst, are actually the ones that can teach you the most? We grow up believing that mistakes are something to avoid, something to be ashamed of. But history has shown us that mistakes are not the end of the road. In fact, they are often the very thing that leads to the greatest success. The difference between those who fail and those who succeed isn't the number of mistakes they make. It's what they do after they make them. Today, we're going to look at how you can turn your biggest failures into your greatest strengths. Because once you understand this, you will never look at mistakes the same way again. From the time we are young, we are taught to fear mistakes. In school, if you make too many mistakes on a test, you get a bad grade. At home, if you break something, you might get scolded. As we grow older, the world continues to remind us that making mistakes has consequences. If you mess up at work, you could lose your job. If you hurt someone's feelings, you might lose their trust. Because of this, we develop a deep fear of getting things wrong. We start believing that mistakes mean failure, that making a wrong choice somehow means we are not good enough. And so we hesitate. We hold ourselves back. We become afraid to take risks, afraid to try new things, afraid to step outside our comfort zone. Because what if we fail? But here's what no one teaches us in school. Mistakes are not the enemy. They are not proof that you are a failure. In fact, they are the opposite. Mistakes are evidence that you are trying, that you are learning, that you are growing. The only way to avoid mistakes completely is to never do anything new, to never take risks, to never step outside the safety of the familiar. And if you do that, you don't just avoid mistakes, you also avoid success. Every great inventor, every successful leader, every person who has ever done something extraordinary has made mistakes. Not just small ones, but big ones. The kind of mistakes that would make most people give up. But instead of quitting, they used their failures to push themselves forward. History is filled with people who made mistakes so big that it seemed like they would never recover. But instead of letting those failures define them, they turned them into something greater. Take Albert Einstein. As a child, he struggled in school. His teachers thought he was slow, that he would never amount to anything. But Einstein didn't let their judgment define him. He kept learning, kept thinking, and eventually he changed the way we understand the universe. Or look at Walt Disney. He was fired from one of his first jobs at a newspaper because his boss told him he lacked imagination. Imagine that. One of the most creative minds in history was told he wasn't creative enough. But instead of giving up, he used that rejection as motivation. He kept going, kept creating, and today his name is known all over the world. And then there's Michael Jordan. When he was in high school, he was cut from his basketball team. That moment could have broken him. He could have believed that he wasn't good enough, but instead, he used that failure to push himself harder. He practiced longer, trained harder, and eventually, he became one of the greatest basketball players of all time. The common thread in all these stories is not the failure itself, it's what they did afterward. They didn't let their mistakes stop them. They let their mistakes teach them. The difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck isn't whether or not they make mistakes. It's what they do after they make them. Some people let their mistakes define them, weigh them down, make them afraid to try again. Others see mistakes as lessons, as opportunities to improve, as stepping stones towards something greater. The first step in learning from your mistakes is accepting them. It's easy to blame others, to make excuses, to convince yourself that the mistake wasn't really your fault. But the truth is, real growth starts when you take responsibility, when you stop running from your mistakes and start looking at them honestly. Once you accept a mistake, the next step is to learn from it. That means asking yourself hard questions. What went wrong? Why did it happen? What could I have done differently? Instead of dwelling on the failure, focus on the lesson. Because every mistake carries a lesson, but only if you're willing to see it. And finally, the most important step is moving forward. Many people get stuck in their past mistakes, replaying them over and over again in their minds, feeling regret and guilt. But a mistake is only a failure if you let it stop you. If you take the lesson and apply it to your future, then that mistake was not a failure. It was a stepping stone to something greater. One of the hardest things about making mistakes is the guilt that comes with them. We often hold on to our mistakes long after they've happened. We replay them in our minds, wishing we had done things differently, punishing ourselves over and over again. But here's the truth. No one is perfect. No one gets everything right all the time. Everyone, even the most successful people in the world, has made bad choices, has said things they regret, has hurt people, has failed. What matters is not whether or not you made a mistake. What matters is how you choose to move forward. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean ignoring what happened. It doesn't mean pretending that mistakes don't have consequences. It means recognizing that you are human, that you are learning, that you are growing. It means understanding that you deserve another chance, that your past mistakes do not define your future. If you find yourself stuck in guilt, try to shift your focus. Instead of asking, "Why did I mess up?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of seeing your past mistakes as proof of failure, see them as proof that you are evolving, that you are becoming wiser, that you are on a journey towards something better. At the end of the day, mistakes are not something to be feared. They are not signs that you are failing. They are signs that you are trying. Every mistake you make is an opportunity to grow. Every failure is a lesson in disguise. So the next time you make a mistake, don't run from it. Don't let it define you. Instead, embrace it. Learn from it. Use it to become better, stronger, wiser. Because your mistakes are not the end of your story. They are just the beginning of a new chapter. And remember, no matter how big your mistake feels today, it is just one moment in a much bigger journey. Keep going. Keep learning. Keep growing. Because your best days are still ahead of you. If this video resonated with you, if it made you see mistakes in a new light, then don't stop here. Take a moment to think about a mistake from your past, something you've been holding on to, something that's been weighing you down. Now ask yourself, what lesson can I take from it? How can I use it to grow? And if you found value in this message, make sure to like this video so more people can hear it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video that helps you grow into the best version of yourself. Most importantly, drop a comment below and share. What is one mistake that taught you a powerful lesson? Your story might just inspire someone else to keep going. Remember, mistakes don't define you. How you rise after them does. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video.